Look at that silly face.
Download it on YouTube.
Okay, I'll put it on YouTube. Hi everyone, it's Carrie from Dispatches from the Frat House. How are you all doing? Is it winter where you are? Is it summer where you are? It is very, very winter where I am. It's very, very cold today. So I am super excited to talk to you guys today about this collaboration video that I'm doing with Laura Hutchinson at How to GYST. You can find her at howtogYST.com. Laura has so much information about so many different things. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met, no joke. And these two videos that we are putting up for you in collaboration with each other are kind of how our journaling, well, it's kind of a two-parter, okay? Laura's is how 2 books and 2 apps help her keep things together, help her keep things going, okay? So she uses 2 books and 2 apps, and that's all I'm going to tell you about it. So you need to go watch Laura's video. I will link to it down below and see how she can use 2 books and 2 apps to keep everything moving. My part of the collaboration is about journaling and how journaling improves my planning. Ever since I started journaling more, I started noticing my planning changing. And maybe not necessarily like the system itself. I mean, the setup, you guys know, my setups are almost always the same concept, just in different sizes or different notebooks or whatever. But I noticed when I started journaling more that my planning mind started to shift a little bit in a very good way. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that a little bit today. 5 ways that journaling has improved my planning. So I am planning right now in a standard size traveler's notebook. So some people call it regular TN, standard TN, narrow TN. There's all different kinds of names for it. It's just a regular old size traveler's notebook. This one happens to be a Chic Sparrow. This is a leather that is no longer available. It's a luxe leather. So 4 elastics in there. I have 4 inserts in there. And I will finally be doing a setup video of this for everybody who has asked. I apologize that it has taken so long. I don't know if you can still hear how nasally I am, but I have my second sinus infection in 2 months' time. We're trying to figure out what's going on with my sinuses. So that video definitely got delayed and I apologize for that. Okay, totally just got interrupted by Liam. So standard size traveler's notebook, kind of for my everyday carry. This is my journal. This one hardly has anything in it because it's new. It's a soft cover A5 Stalogy, and this is also in a Chic Sparrow A5 sized folio cover. So when I started using this more, I realized that it's, you know how you can like create habits, right? I was realizing that I was kind of using my brain in a different way. A lot of times in my journal or in my planner, I'm very linear. I'm very much a linear thinker. We've talked about this before. You know, sometimes in your brain will shift, but some people tend to lean more toward linear thinking. Some people tend to lean more toward like kind of scatterplot thinking. And I noticed that I can lean more toward that scatterplot or good brainstorming time when I'm using this kind of a format. It's just a blank page and that's it. So I wanted to talk to you guys about, since I started journaling more, how my planning has improved. One way has been that when I have intimidating or daunting tasks, and you guys know what I mean, right? Like the stuff you really just don't freaking want to do. A lot of times I can work out what my issue is with that task, unless it's just blatantly obvious. Like, oh, I need to, you know, scrub the toilet or whatever. Well, I don't want to scrub the toilet. I will because it needs to be done, but I don't want to. That I'll just, you know, I'll just do it. But when there are tasks that I seem to be having anxiety about or tasks that I'm procrastinating on, and I'm honestly not even sure why, working it out in here, asking myself, what is it about this task that's intimidating me? Or why does it feel daunting? Why is it causing me anxiety? And kind of delving into that a little bit. And then also, what is the positive payout for me completing this task? Even if that payout for completing the task is simply that it's done and I don't have to think about it anymore, that to me counts. So this is kind of my playground to work that thing out. What is it that's causing me anxiety, making me worry about this task, kind of holding me back from finishing it? what is that about? And what am I going to gain in a positive manner from actually finishing whatever this task is that's bothering me? The second way that journaling has improved my planning is it reminds me of my motivations. It greatly has decreased my feeling of overwhelm when it seems like there's way too much to do and it's not going to get done. And I'll be really honest with you guys and open with you guys, that is a very familiar feeling for me. I feel overwhelmed a lot. And I never want to put out there this feeling like I've got it all together. Nobody has it all together, guys. Nobody does. That's just a fact. Everybody will go through streaks of feeling like they have it together, but life happens, right? Things that are out of our control, things that we have procrastinated on that we should have done sooner, so we kind of put ourselves in this yucky position of feeling overwhelmed. A lot of times around here in our particular situation, it's just we have a large family. Mike has a very complicated schedule, so things can just feel overwhelming. And if anything is going to get set aside for somebody else's thing or stuff, it's going to be my stuff that's going to take the back burner. So being able to work that out in here in words, like physically writing, has really decreased my overwhelm when I start feeling like there's too much to do. The other thing it's really helped me to do, because it reminds me of my motivations, is it's helped me to let go of some tasks if I have to. If there are tasks that don't align with my motivations, then I can work out ways for me to feel better about letting those tasks go if they are tasks that I can let go, if that makes sense. Obviously, there are some things you just have to do. You have to do them. If there are tasks that I can let go of, sometimes I won't out of a feeling of obligation or guilt. If there is no way that I can work out doing whatever particular task it is, and I start to realize that maybe, going back to number one, part of my anxiety over the task is that it isn't aligning with my current motivations, then working it out in here has helped me feel a lot better about maybe not doing that task at all. That also leaves room and time for the tasks that do align with my motivations. Thirdly, and this one might be my favorite, is that in here in my journal where it's just blank space, there are no appointments, there are no tasks, there are no, anything like that. Sometimes ideas and thoughts flow better when I'm writing in here than they do when I'm writing in here. And don't get me wrong, I love this. I love how busy this is. Busy looking, I love the tab. You guys know me, I'll tab all the things. So I love all the tabs. I love all my sections. I am very happy with my system. But for some reason, this being completely separate from all of this is kind of like a separate, safe, sacred space for me. I can stretch my brain without thinking about tasks, the schedules, things hovering in the background, things that are upcoming, some I need to remember to run somebody somewhere tomorrow at a certain time. That's all living in here. This is completely separate from this. So when I'm thinking about topics for videos or topics for workshops I'm teaching or whatever the case may be, a lot of times I can do it in here no problem. I have this whole notebook in the back that we're in right now is all notes for videos, notes for workshops, notes for writing, things like that, right? But sometimes having it in a completely separate physical space makes this feel like more of a very safe space to just let your brain go, just let it stretch. And the thing I like about that is ideas, when I'm letting my brain stretch, ideas tend to flow a little bit easier. And it'll of course depend on the day. It'll depend on how much coffee I've had. It'll depend on how much water I've had. It'll depend on how well I've fed myself that day. It'll depend on how many interruptions there are. Of course there are. It depends on a lot of things. But generally, overall, this just feels like my brain stretches in a little bit different way than it does here, if that makes sense. Another great thing about how journaling has improved my planning is that journaling has helped me to see and acknowledge the small victories, the small steps of progress toward a big goal. For some reason, seeing that stuff in here, going back through journaling pages, flipping back to me journaling about when I started a project or, when I sent a proposal email to teach a workshop or whatever, and then, how I felt about that, how I was anxious about emailing, how I was, concerned because I'd never done anything like that before. And then the tiny steps toward the email exchanges and yes, we're going to teach this workshop, or we're going to do this talk, or whatever the case may be. Having that documented and seeing like the small steps toward completing a goal along the way is super satisfying to me. And the next thing kind of branches off of that is it helps me remember that big goals are managed by making small victories. They could be teeny tiny victories. And those tiny victories sometimes around here don't take place till a week or two after I wanted them to, just because of everybody else's stuff going on, right? But they happened. It has helped me stay motivated to keep making those tiny steps toward the bigger goals. And it's also reminded me that for me personally, the work that I put into those small steps toward those big goals, I find very satisfying. I find chipping away at a big goal to be very satisfying. And because now I can, instead of worrying about the time that I'm putting into something, am I working on something that aligns with my motivations, I've clearly defined those because of this. I took the time to explore what those motivations are, what they mean to me, why I have them. So then those small victories don't feel like possibly wasted time. I'm not afraid of that anymore. I'm a little bit ashamed to say it took me 20 years to get there, but nonetheless, I got there. So those are the ways that journaling has greatly improved my planning. I would love to hear if you both journal and plan, or if you do them together, if you do them separately, does not matter, but I would love to hear how you think the interplay between the two, and how maybe one benefits from the other or vice versa. And I would love to hear down in the comments below, so let me know. And please go check out Laura's video. I haven't seen it yet. I am dying to see it. I cannot wait to see how that woman makes all the stuff in her life work, because like I said, she's one of the smartest people I've ever met, and we finally get a little peek into her brain. I'm super excited. So go check out Laura at howtogyst.com. Her video will be here on YouTube. I will link it down below, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.